Hello, and welcome back to the Cozy Arts. My name is Cherish, but you can call me Cozy. And it's been a long time since I've posted a video here because it's been real bad. If you have no idea who I am, I mostly make craft and garden and other cozy videos, and sometimes I make videos about multiple chemical sensitivity, which is a condition that I have, and it's a condition that means that I can't really leave the house. In recent years, we've been able to get me out of the house and into nature more, or out of the house and outside in places away from people, but I don't do buildings that aren't my house, and I don't do crowds. So I am mostly homebound. Like, I leave the house to get vaccinated, to get my driver's license updated, sometimes for school things, but all of those things require a respirator, and the respirator doesn't really work very well. So I am essentially homebound. I've been homebound for over a decade, and that decade in relative isolation means that I can live a fairly normal and healthy life as long as I do it all inside of my house. And as an introvert, my house is where I want to be. So things could be worse. But then what do you do when the world is on fire? What do you do when the right thing to do is to protest? When the right thing to do is to be shoulder to shoulder with your neighbor to say, this is who I want to be. This is the country that I want to see. Like, I want to see a world where my neighbors can get their groceries and go home without being worried about being harassed by the police or by the Gestapo, ICE, where we don't have to prove our citizenship to be able to walk down the street, where we are not seeing children being taken from schools. What do you do when you have to protest, but you can't leave your house? So, today, that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about how to protest when you are homebound, when you have a disability, when you gotta do something, but you can't do everything. So, of course, the big ones that people always talk about are making calls, which I gotta be honest, it's the anxiety. The people that I am a constituent of are generally doing a good job. So I really should just call them and say, hey, keep fighting. I'm proud of you. But yeah, and making your voice heard. I saw a video where Grace Helbig just kept calling the DOJ and leaving so many voicemails about, like, what I hear from my friends who have conservative representatives is that sending letters, calling them, it gets nothing but like a form response that shows that they don't listen, they don't care. So yes, call your representatives, keep the heat on them, but know that calling them is not going to be the thing that ultimately saves us, because they don't care about your vote. They don't need your vote anymore. Just as a side note, the rant that I'm probably going to cut out, I am homebound, I vote by mail. And it's great to vote by mail because you get to really research your people. And if you follow the Election Truth Alliance at all, you really should, because they look just at the data, just looking at the data. And looking at the data of the vote by mail, which is tabulated by tabulation machines, which are different from how they're tabulated when you vote in person or even early voting. The vote by mail looks like normal human behavior normal human behavior voting. So if you hear Trump railing about the tabulation machines, it's because they haven't figured out a way how to hack them yet. Whereas the other machines, that they are not showing human voter behavior. They are showing signs of manipulation. And that's why Trump loves them so much. So coming after vote by mail is one more way to try and ensure that they don't lose power, because they know that when they lose power, they are in trouble. They are in trouble because they have done nothing but break the Constitution, break the law. They have not cared at all for the law. They have not cared at all for the normal U.S. citizen, for the normal U.S. resident. They don't care about us. All they care about is maintaining their power and not being held accountable for their crimes. And if you've read any of the Epstein list, you know there are so many crimes that they should be rotting in jail for. We should have something even worse than jail for them, for just this sheer amount of unspeakable crimes that they have committed against women and children. Children of any gender. So calling them alone is not going to be enough. The thing that they care about, the thing that they truly care about, is money. So don't spend your money at places that benefit them. That's one of the things that I personally am able to do, is I'm able to just not give them money as much as possible. We, like in a perfect world, buy groceries, buy whatever emergency things that you need to make it through the day. And the rest of it, tuck it away for a better day. Because the only way that this stops is when the money stops. We need to strike. We need to strike long. We need to make it hurt, because they're just gonna make us hurt. The only way we can hurt them back is to strike. And I don't have a job, so I can't do that. But it needs to happen. We need to have a prolonged general strike to bring them to their knees. Everyone who's not on the Epstein list, strike. So yeah, call, strike, yes, boycott. Be careful where you're sending your money. We've changed our grocery store because we need to be more careful about where we're sending our money and who and what we're supporting. So when possible, support small local businesses, especially when you know that they have similar values to you. But as far as like actual protests, going to protests. Now, after a decade in isolation, I am a lot healthier. So, and protests are usually outside. So, is there a level at which I can do this? For me personally, like, I don't know where you're at, but for me personally, going to the big protest where everyone gathers and we have thousands and thousands and thousands of people, that means parking, public transportation, walking from that to the thing and then back again. How am I going to know how much energy to budget for that and how much like anxiety to budget for figuring out parking? Like, that already is a big hurdle. And then getting to like actually being in a crowd, not really being able to control my distancing, it's just not going to work for me. But I am lucky enough to live in an area where we also just have small neighborhood protests or small area protests. And those are closer. I can either walk to them or we can easily find parking near them. And I don't have to budget the energy to and from. I don't have to budget the brain energy of figuring out parking. And it's easier for me to distance, to be in the crowd, but give it 10 feet or whatever we need, because I need space. People's smells travel so far. Like, fabric softener does not get out of your clothes, and it makes me so sick. The fabric softener is probably on the upper list of the reasons why I am the way that I am. So, going to a big protest, not for me. I can't do it. Small protests, yeah, I can. But one of the big fears that I have is being in a situation where there is tear gas deployed, or any other chemical warfares that they're doing. I don't know how my body would handle that. I might just die. I don't know. It might just erase a whole decade's worth of improvement from being in isolation. And then I'd be back at square one, or even worse than square one. I don't know how sick it would make me. So I'm not actively trying to put myself in those positions. I don't want to be just another name in an already too long list of people whose lives were stolen. I don't want that for myself, and I mostly don't want that for my family. If it was just me, I don't know what kind of person I would be, but here I am as a wife and a mother, and I want to be there for my family. Yeah, I want to be there for my family. So, as just a general to-do, even if you are not in a position where you can protest or where you want to protest, if you're in that position, there are things that you still should be doing for your health. And that is making sure, I know I said try not to spend money. This is a thing you might have to spend money on. Make sure that you have any kind of air purifier you can get your hands on. Get air purifiers in your house at the ready. Get new cabin filters for your car. Get new home system air purifiers for your house. Get new air filters. Have them on hand, because when they deploy the amount of chemicals that they have been deploying on peaceful observers, that goes places. It gets into your house. It gets into your car. Blocks away, you can have this entering your home. So make sure that this is a thing that you have ready, because even if they are not in your house, in your area, even if you don't live in the city, they will get to you. That's one thing that we know, is they will get to you. They are not just in the big cities. They are also in the smaller towns. They are everywhere, and they will be everywhere. And it's not going to stop with immigrants. They are already detaining people just because they don't like them. They don't like the fact that they're being held accountable by them. And this is not a problem that is happening elsewhere. This is a problem that will come to you if we don't stop this, and I don't want it to come to you. I have a lot of people that I know who are out there on the front lines. And they're seeing such awful things. I have a friend who's been who's been an active observer. She's had ICE show up at her house, blocking in her car and taking pictures of her and her children for being an observer. I've had friends witnessing children being removed from schools and being powerless to stop them, just armed with whistles. And how can you save a child who's being stolen? And these are good people that I know and I trust. And they are out there fighting. And I'm proud of them. And all I can do is what I can do. And what I can do, me personally, what I can do is I can watch. I can watch from my windows. When my camera is not recording videos like this, which is not doing that often, I've got my camera charged, ready to go next to the window, just in case anything happens to my neighbors. If anything happens to my neighbors, I can set up the down angle and try to catch them. And then, I don't know, maybe try and run out with my phone. I don't know how can we save people? How can we save neighbors? All I want to do is protect my neighbors. And not just like my neighbors, but the global neighbors. We're all in this together. We know what the bad guys are, and they're all on a fucking list, and no one's doing anything about it. But yeah. So, especially when you know that all the people who are active watchers, active protesters in your neighborhood are maybe at an event, that's an extra good time to keep an eye on your neighbors. Make sure that the people who are too scared to go to protests aren't being stolen, because there's not enough people watching. So keep an eye on your neighbors. And the other thing that I do just for me, mostly, I make protest art. And yeah, I mostly post it on Blue Sky. So I'm gonna make protest art like this. And like this. And like this. But yeah, protest art. And I probably am messing up with that. And I know that like posting it on Blue Sky, a little bit preaching to the choir. But like, I know that my art isn't going to matter to the world. It's not going to make a huge difference to the world. But it matters to me. It gives me a place to put the feelings so that it's not just drowning in helplessness. Because we're not helpless. We're not powerless. We just haven't figured out how to use our power. And our power looks like striking. Our power looks like boycotting. Our power looks like protesting, showing up, saying, I'm not going to be silent just because it would make it more convenient for you. I am not going to let you sweep the Epstein files under the rug, sweep all those missing people. Like, we are missing people that we took out of their homes, we took away from their jobs, and now we don't know where they are. once we start learning the truth of what's happening in these detention centers, how bad's it going to get? We need to stop this now, because it's already been too bad. Our children are going to ask us what we did right now. Our children are going to ask us our grandchildren are going to ask us what side we were on. Prove to them that you were on the right side, that you were on the side of protecting people. All right, well, have fun unsubscribing from me. There will be some hydroponic stuff coming up next. I don't know how much I'm going to do as far as videos. Kind of working on some bigger projects behind the scenes, which is, alternating between feeling like an overwhelmed lump and working on bigger projects. But yeah, subscribe for more. Take care of yourself. Love you.